Galway. The name of this line at the time was the New York and Long Branch Railroad. And that came through Avenel, which is about 1 mile to 2 miles from Galway. Then another mile down the road was another town called Edgar Hill. They didn't even have a platform there, they just got off on cinder ground. 1 more mile past Edgar Hill was a Woodbridge station. If you recall, the trains ran the mail in those days. And a friend of mine who was 17 or 18 and a senior in high school at St. Mary's put the mail on a train in Avenel. And for some reason, I can't remember, I ended up spending a lot of time with him, going there every day. And there were 2 other men, or young men, who came there too. They were 18, 19 years old. Between, say, 5:15 and 6:05, there were 4 trains that came through the Avenel. The first train that came through was going to New York, which is railroad eastbound. And that got the most mail, and we also took mail off the train. Then, somewhere near 5:30, the broker came through. And the broker came through at least 60 miles an hour. That really moved. A beautiful train in a way. And like he said, the last car on the train was a private car.
Right.
I think they had a bar, they played cards
Yeah.
and stuff.
Commuter club.
Well, we were walking off the platform, and all of a sudden, did you remember the picture that he said was colored in color?
Yeah.
And you saw the steel poles? The steel poles hold the catenary, which allows the electric trains to run. Well, we're in Avenel, and those steel poles just shook like you wouldn't
Really?
believe. So we knew something crazy happened. We didn't know what it was. We went to get the mail and put it on the trains that were supposed to go south, or what they call Railroad West. My father would come in on the 6 o'clock train, which is a commuter train. That's just MU units, multiple stops. But the next train was run by a GG1, 5 after 6, and put the mail on that train. My father's train never came in. I don't think they let it come in. But the other train came in, and the conductor told us there was a wreck. And they backed that train back up to Galway. Obviously, they couldn't let it go any further. Well, we go home. That night, I went to St. Mary's High School, and we were supposed to be playing Perth Amboy High School. St. Mary's never won a game against Perth Amboy. So we were going to go to the game, and the bus stopped in front of our house, but my father must have wanted to go see the wreck. So we went down, and we were in the Gawkers, walked right down to Fulton Street, and I was right where the train was on the hill. And we're standing there, and it was just a small yard, my brother and I, and they were bringing the bodies and actually putting them, there must have been 20 bodies there. Stupid me, trying to figure out why they should have died. But they all had winter clothes on, so you really couldn't see anything. My brother, well, then we heard somebody say, "Hey, the car's sliding," and it sort of looked like there was going to be panic. But as far as I could see, it didn't move, if at all. My brother didn't like what was going on. He says, "We got to get out of here." So we left. I don't recall if we went to the basketball game. I have no recollection of that. But I do know that my brother was a sophomore, and they had very good players in that sophomore class. And I think that was the beginning of their winning seasons.
Yeah.
So it might have been that night, but I'm not sure. Then, one more thing.
Sure.
50 years later, they had a anniversary commencement, or whatever, not commencement, in honor of the people who were injured and died. And that was pretty much sponsored by Reverend Houston,
Yes.
who was a Reverend at the Main Street United Methodist Church in Woodbridge. He was a bit of a rail fan.
I know him.
You
Yeah.
told him what a rail fan is. Rail fans are people who
Yeah.
enjoy watching trains, maybe ride trains, photograph trains, things like that. So he set this up, and I called the fella that was 17 when I was 14, and we went together to that. The mayor in Woodbridge at the time was a fellow who grew up 2 houses away from me named Frank Pelsman.
Pelsman, yeah.
And it was a very nice affair,
Yeah.
extremely well done. And the only pictures I have are pictures from that era. I don't have, I guess we didn't keep any of the newspaper clippings from the original record. The other thing I can't remember is, I don't remember seeing anything on TV. I'm not really sure whether we had a TV. Or maybe that's why I can't remember.
No, you didn't have a TV.
On a train, either he or his brother worked the acetylene torch,
Oh, yeah.
and he would try to clear the way for a priest to go in and give last rites. And the priest was very young and kept getting sick. It was a tough scene.
I believe it.
Right there.
What were your experiences? So you were on the train. You were on the
I was
broker.
on the train every night, on the broker.
Where were you coming from?
I commuted from Red Bank to Jersey City, where I was a junior in St. Peter's College.
Okay.
And then I worked after class. I had a little job in the First National Bank in Jersey City, which is one exchange place. So, of course, the broker left right across the street in the harbor side, or whatever they called it then. And I would catch it every night because it was a hell of a train. Because the first stop, I think, was Matawan. I think it was like hell.
I think it stopped in Newark, didn't it? And
Probably
then,
Newark,
and then,
then
that was an
Matawan, yeah.
express. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was a wonderful train.
And you were going from Jersey City to
Red Bank.
Red Bank.
Yeah. And geez, I did that, you know. I remember how. Let's see. That would be, trying to put the dates here. I was a junior in college, so that would have been 1951. And I still commuted the following year, but of course I didn't necessarily take the broker because I wasn't working downtown.
Right.
And I'd take the path over to, then they called the Hudson Tubes, if you remember, back over to Newark and catch the Pennsy or Jersey Central, whichever came in for
So tell him how you walked off the train and where you...
Yeah. So what was your recollection of the wreck itself? I mean, what did you experience?
Well, fortunately for me, I fell asleep. Okay, I always slept on the train. It was very crowded that night because the Central was on strike, as you know. So it meant that they had a double load on the pen.
And which car were you in?
Second. And the only thing I recall was all of a sudden this, and the next thing I know, I must have knocked me out because when I woke up, the seats were on top of me.
Wow.
I don't know what happened, you know. Takes you a couple of foggy, you know.
Yeah.
Then I realized, well, we've been in a hell of an accident here. I'm hearing the moans and this, you know. There was a lady that was sitting in front of me. I pulled stuff off her, you know, helped her out, and I think there were 2 others. I dragged them out, and then I said, "Get out of here! We could have a fire. Let's get the hell out of here." So we went and got out of the damn train. And then I walked across the street. Those wonderful people that you were talking about, they were great. And they opened their house. And I said, "Can I use your phone? It's been a terrible accident." And of course, I called my father,
Right.
And he and my brother drove up. I said, I'll walk back to the Woodbridge station because we had just gone past it.
Right.
So I walked back there and I sat there waiting for, and they came and got me and I went home.
Right.
And he had a couple of golfing buddies who were radiologists. I'm not kidding. And they opened their place for me and they x-rayed me from top to bottom to make sure I was all right. And so I spent 3 days in bed because I hurt so bad from the pulled muscles and everything that I I couldn't get out of bed. But other than that, it's, every time the train would shake for the next 3 months, you grab it. It's a terrible feeling. Terrible feeling. But anyway.
But they found his books with his name.
That's the only reason I could claim some money from them, because I couldn't get off the damn train.
Right.
I left I don't know where my books were.
Okay, so they found
my textbooks. They had my name in there, so.
Okay.
Fortunately for me, they were cheap. They were cheap. They didn't want to give you anything.
Yeah. So you were able to get a settlement out of it, though?
Yeah, I sued, sure. But the settlement was so, a couple grand. Paid the tuition for a year. We're talking $1,950 now.
Wow. And so you helped other people to get out of the train?
Sure. Of course, you remember one gal, she was screaming. She was looking for her father. And we couldn't find him. I don't know where the hell he was.
Wow.
He remembers the pretty girl that was in the hair salon, the hair
That
treatment.
couple,
He saw
I
her
saw
every
him
day.
every night.
Really?
With her
The
boy.
irony of it, they were carrying a double load that night because the Central was on strike.
Yeah.
So there was no seats left. They always rode in the second car, like I did.
Right.
And there was no seats left, so they went back into the third car. Gone.
I talked to his sister, the young man's sister. I'm trying to remember Victor. Yes. I talked to his sister at the last talk that I did.
In Red Bank, right?
No.
Well, he was. I mean, it's where
Middletown,
probably. Yeah.
So Nathan, So I talked to her. And
I didn't know them. I knew the faces. I'd see them
yeah,
together
but
every night.
it's amazing that you knew. I'm just talking to these people, this family, and now I meet you, and you remember them.
Sure.
Wow.
Well, I remember Victor.
Yeah.
I didn't know the girl.
Okay.
But I knew.
But you knew she was pretty.
She was pretty. And she was from down here, I think.
Spring
somewhere.
Lake.
Spring Lake. Okay,
Yes.
That's why I didn't know her.
Right.
But
Wow.
Victor was in Red Bank, so I knew.
Yeah.
I'd seen him around.
Yeah.
Red Bank's a small town then.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyway, it was an experience, Fortunate to be alive.
Yeah. Was there any residual? I mean, in terms of nightmares or anything like that? I mean, you said
No.
you would, when the train would shake, you would get.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. I
First couple of
so.
trips on the train were.
Yeah. Were you reticent about getting back on the train after that,
It took a couple of days before I got back on.
Right.
I missed about, I guess, 7 or 8 school days.
Right.
While I get trying to come back. And,
Sure. Wow.
But the first couple of rides, were rough.
Yeah. I imagine.
But you get used to it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And
You're very welcome, man.
Glad you
I can't wait to read your book.
Let me tell, I know he's done, but I tell him what we just told that lady. Years and years later, he's working on Wall Street. Tell him about the airplane. The seaplane.
Oh, yeah. God is good. When I had a few bucks when I was working on Wall Street then, and I would fly on the weekends from Monmouth Beach to downtown.
Oh, right.
Foot of Wall Street there, a seaplane.
Seaplane. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
One of the specialists on the Florida Exchange owned the plane. Summered
Okay.
in Bayhead. And so one Friday I take off, and a friend of mine says, I'll take the seat and I'll fly up there with you. The plane runs into a police helicopter, and he was killed.
Sitting in the seat he always sat in.
Oh my God.
You don't believe in fate.
Your number's not.
Right. You have to believe.
I had to share that because when he told me that, I'm like, how could you have been through?
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
He said that was the seat I sat in, and that guy was killed in the.
Oh my God.
Right. And it only held how many passengers?
4.
Wow.
It did. It hit a helicopter. I remember
Hit a
that.
police helicopter. He was a specialist on the Florida Exchange. Say it. Yeah, it was sad.
Oh, the story. Yeah, jeez.
So,
Maybe I do want to sit
I don't
next
know
to
what
you
they're
because
saying.
you always survive at least.
yeah, I don't know what they're saving me for, but I'm a little frightened about that.
Well, thank you very much for
Thank
sharing.
you.
I
It was a
really
pleasure
appreciate
meeting
it.
you.
Pleasure
And I
meeting you
look
as
forward to
well.
reading the book.
Thank you.
I think you got the book.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Tully. My parents were both on the broker train, James and Eleanor Tully. They were living in Fairhaven. I'm pretty sure my dad was working at Western Union at the time, and I think my mom was also. They were coming home on the train. They would always sit together on the train, but because of the crowding, they sat separately that day. My dad knew where she was on the train. After the accident, when he woke up, I guess he was knocked out also, he went to the area where he knew she was sitting. He remembered somebody having a hat on or something like that. So once he found the hat, he moved a bunch of bodies and he dug through the wreckage and moved the seats and found her underneath and everything. And then pretty much carried her out. The picture in the book is of them when they were in the hospital, and I know they had to sign a waiver in the hospital for insurance, and they were offered a couple $100 only.
Really?
Yeah, and that's pretty much my recollection. And I know to when they deceased, my dad was still picking glass out of his head from the windows and everything from the broker. My mom still had like where she was I guess got hurt her legs. They would still weep or whatever from the accident.
Really?
And she had a lot of issues with them to the end. Now,
So they're deceased now?
yes, my mom died in 2013. My dad in 2010.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And to my knowledge, they didn't belong to any of the groups, survivor groups.
Right.
But they would follow it in the paper every year when they would do the article. And I remember they had the article for the 50th anniversary. And I'll honestly look at home to see if there's anything else that they might have had from it.
So they were commuting from where to where?
They were commuting from Jersey City.
From
Jersey City down to, I guess, Red Bank.
Red Bank.
They would get off to go to Fairhaven.
Okay.
And after that, they relocated up to Dumont, New Jersey, because my dad took another job
Okay.
with the Port Authority.
Oh, okay.
And then we owned a house here in Spring Lake. My grandfather did, and we bought it from them.
Okay. So do you know if they got back on the train? I mean, did they still commute, and is there any recollection of
I think they must
how it
have,
affected them?
because my dad didn't get the job with the Port Authority for a couple more years or whatever.
Right.
So they must have, and I guess my mom continued to work until my sister was born, and she must have been born in, I think, 52. So I might check with my sister
Right.
to try to do the math to see if my mom had been pregnant or something.
Oh, wow. That would be
I don't know.
something. Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, do the math.
Yeah, I have to do the math or whatever and figure out if she might have possibly been pregnant even at that time.
When were you born?
I was born 59. So,
Right.
and my sister's 7 years older, so
Okay.
I'll have to figure that out. Yeah. So,
Wow. That was quite amazing when, I put the picture up and like, that's my parents. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah,
Had you seen that picture before?
They had that picture with the caption underneath it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there was a couple other things they had. And I think it's in a photo album, and I don't know where the photo album is right now.
Okay. It's amazing.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
That was something. Neither was I.
I was like, whoa. So.
All right.